So if we can discuss one of the other elements, I'll let you choose which ones you want to start with because it's so amazing.
Sure. So maybe we'll move to the fire element or Pitta dosha. So we say fire element because the fire part of Pitta is a lot more than the water part. So you can think of it as a liquid fiery substance like lava, for example. And that in our body manifests as I mentioned, acidity or any kind of transformation. Fire is very intelligent. So it creates intelligence in the body. There's a fire that lives in our stomach that helps the digestion of our food. So as the air helps the food move down, then it goes in the stomach. The water helps that kind of buffering in between the fire acidity and the food itself. And so the food starts moving there and starts digesting. And the intelligence of the fire is the reason why the body goes, okay, these are the nutrients, I'm going to separate them. And these are the malas or the waste. I'm going to separate the two. This goes down, that goes right all over the body. So any more strong our fire is, the stronger we are. That's what we say in Ayurveda. And this main fire of the body is called Agni. So going back to the dosha of fire, so some people have that fire just naturally stronger. So how this manifests in our body is, they tend to have like physically, they may have more like reddish skin. So like they turn red really quickly.
Like me, I'll just put it out there. And why did I wear red today? It's like I knew.
Possibly. They may have freckles. That redness might come out as red. They may have red hair, but not necessarily all the time. They're usually average in body size. They have really intense look. So, a Pitta looks at you and you go, oh my gosh, I better get my stuff together. They have that kind of intensity with the way they look at you. Pitta is usually in the middle of the two doshas. So usually they create balance in the world. Emotionally, they can be very particular. They love their stuff organized. They like to create a project that Vata started because of creativity. Pitta will take over and finish it up because Vatas usually forget about that project and move on to the next one, versus Pittas want to complete a task. They're great leaders, teachers, organizers. They're great politicians, doctors, very intelligent people. So usually the mind of a Pitta is very strong. Physically, the body, they think it is strong because the mind is so strong, but is not as strong. So when it goes out of balance, one of the things we see with Pitta is they burn themselves out because they work so hard, because no other person can do it better than them. So they want to do everything themselves, and then they don't realize that physically they can't handle that. So there's a burnout. Sometimes the way emotionally it goes out of balance is that beautiful particular attention. If they see that other people don't have that, they get frustrated really easily. So there's anger and frustration and fume literally coming out, is because of that kind of fire. So if we don't listen to Pitta when it's giving us signs of imbalance, for example, one of the biggest imbalances we can feel is burning sensation in the body. So if you eat your food and then all of a sudden there's like a burning sensation in your stomach, or if you have acid reflux, that's another sign of Pitta being out of balance, because that acidity, instead of going down, is now going up. So that's with the help of Vata, things are being mixed up. The skin is also a Pitta organ. So a lot of times when our Pitta is in balance, we might see rashes or acne. We might see cold sores. Any kind of inflammation in the body is because of a Pitta imbalance. If we don't listen to these first signs that usually start actually from digestion, then they become bigger problems. So we don't listen to these doshas and their messages become bigger and bigger. For example, if you have acid reflux, that's a sign from your body. Maybe yesterday you ate pizza and beer and your body hasn't digested it yet. So that is a sign your body's telling you, stop eating anything, pause, allow me to digest this first before you put anything else in. However, in the West, we're really accustomed to not being able to tolerate things like that or hear messages like that. So we go, what is happening with me? I'm going to have some Pepto-Bismol, shut up, shut up. We just want to shut these doshas that are so beautifully sending us messages. And so if that goes on and on and on, that is how disease is created. So the acid reflux can become a gastric problem or ulcers. It can create more nausea, if we have loose stools, that is another sign that the fire is too much. So if we don't listen to that and have diarrhea time after time after time and not do anything about it, then it can become a lot more irritable and a bigger problem. So any redness and inflammation, redness in the eyes, because eyes are also a pitta organ, then that's a sign that our pitta is imbalance. Some of the things that we can do to bring balance to our pitta, if you are experiencing any of that, then it's really good to create cooling, because fire doesn't have any cooling inside of it. So cooling herbs or foods like coconut oil, parsley, dill, things like that, moderation in lifestyle, because pittas tend to be really intense. So they want to be number one in everything. They want to win every race. So just balancing that a little bit with some giving, one of the best things for pittas to practice is just giving their time to some, instead of giving to receive, just giving it, just donating something that is theirs, or donating their time, acts of service, that kind of thing is really balancing for pitta. Surrendering, just, okay, I'm not always in control and I can let go. That is one of the best things that pittas can do for themselves. Generally, foods that are sweet in a sense that the aftertaste is sweet, like rice has an aftertaste that is sweet, or honey, raw honey, and maple syrup, things like that. And foods that are bitter, they're really good for them. Foods that are cooling, that are really good for them. So sticking to things like that, when you know that, especially coming into summer, if your dosha is pitta, then you're gonna feel that heat and frustration and emotional imbalance coming out, and everybody's gonna be like, oh my gosh. If you see people be like, I'm gonna stay away from you, maybe check in with your pitta. And so,
like, chill by the pool, man, just chill.
Exactly. Water is really good for fire because it puts it out.
Right. And to that point, I was thinking too, like the air element, because air feeds water, right? So if that anxiety, if you're continuously in that anxious environment, that's just going to fuel the fire, right?
Exactly. Air feeds fire. So that's exactly the connection between vata going out of balance and then all of a sudden your fire going up. Yes.
Right. And I think, especially in the environment we're at right now, there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of frustration. So it's so wonderful, just to see how we can just balance it and bring it back to sort of a calm way so that we can use our intellect to do it. Because it feels kind of like it's opposites, right? What you're trying to achieve is you're trying to achieve this goal. But if you're continuously stuck in anger and frustration and imbalance, you're never going to reach that goal anyway.
Exactly. So that's a really good point, because the news, if you're watching the news, you're literally fueling that fire. So it's important to know what's going on in the world, but turning off the news and listening to, Mozart, or, something cooling and calming.
Maybe
really
whale music.
That would be amazing. I mean, if you're in my house, there's always some kind of chime or whale music or water music going on. It really affects me and cools me down and calms me down. So figure out what that is for you. Play that. the
Right.
vibration, right? Vibration changes us instantly, I find.
Absolutely. It's switching that energy, right? Oh,
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. And I think a lot of people can really, take this lesson and see how they can apply it to their own lives. Thank you, Paris. That's amazing.